Ever heard of a comedian, like, building their own world? And I don't just mean, jokes on a stage. I'm talking a whole ecosystem.
It's a fascinating phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's what we're diving into today with Owen Benjamin.
Oh, interesting.
He's gone from mainstream comedy to being called, well, the world's most banned, and it's his response that makes this so interesting.
I can already tell this is going to be good. What kind of sources do we have to unpack all of this?
We've got Owen's own website, comments from his fan base, even a YouTube video analyzing his, well, let's just say unique viewpoints. The goal is to understand how he built this following, what's the appeal, and what does it all say about media today.
Sounds like we've got our work cut out for us.
First up, Owen's website,
Mm-hmm.
right off the bat, crushing it since before cancel culture. Almost like he's wearing those bands as a badge of honor.
It's a powerful statement, not shying away from controversy, but leaning into it. It says, I'm a rebel, I challenge the status quo.
And it continues. He says his audience is a massive following of loving, intelligent people.
Yeah.
What do you make of that phrasing?
It's very deliberate. He's framing his community as something exclusive, a group of people who are in the know, who get it. And that sense of belonging, that's really appealing to people, especially in a world where so many feel isolated.
And it's not just talk. He's built this whole world. Beartaria, comedy specials, documentaries, even a streaming platform, Unbearables Media.
I've heard of that.
There's a merch site, even a campground. It's an enterprise, not just a comedian with a website.
That's what's fascinating. He's not just offering jokes, he's offering an entire ecosystem, a place where people who feel alienated by mainstream media can find community, shared values.
Their own narrative, it seems.
Exactly.
And speaking of community, the fan comments really highlight that. One even said, Big Bear is coming out with a comedy special. Take a deep dive into Owen's live streams and comedy special. Okay, first off, Big Bear. It's a nickname, but it's imposing and endearing at the same time, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It goes back to that duality, the rebel who also offers a sense of belonging. And that phrase, take a deep dive, it's not just passive consumption, it's active engagement.
Which brings us to that YouTube video, the FE Awakening of Owen Benjamin. You guessed it.
Yeah.
FE Flat Earth.
Yeah.
Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, let's look at how this connects to everything else.
It's all about context. We're talking about a comedian who's built a brand around challenging norms, offering alternative narratives. When he explores unconventional ideas, it's not necessarily about pushing that belief, but about questioning, provoking, keeping people engaged.
And in the clips we pulled, you can hear that passion, the humor, even frustration with what he sees as the accepted narrative. Like he's saying, don't just take my word for it, think for yourself.
It's a common thread through a lot of his work, I'd say.
So it's not about whether you agree with his stance on the shape of the earth. It's about how he frames the argument.
Exactly. He positions himself as the underdog, the one willing to question everything. And for an audience disillusioned with mainstream narratives, that can be a powerful message.
So Owen Benjamin, from mainstream comedy to this independent media empire, Beartaria, multifaceted, controversial, undeniably successful. What's the key takeaway for you?
It's the community, I think. Building a community around shared values, a distinct narrative, agree or disagree with his views, he's tapped into wanting something different, something outside the mainstream.
A modern-day digital tribe, almost. And it's not just the content, it's the connection, the shared language belonging to something.
Exactly, and that's powerful, especially now when technology can make you feel isolated, even when you're hyper-connected. Makes you think.
It really does. We've covered a lot. How much can controversy be leveraged these days? That desire for connection, even in unexpected places. Any final thoughts for our listeners today?
Think about the communities you're part of, online, offline, wherever. What values do they have? What stories do they tell? Do they lift you up or hold you back? Good questions to ask as we navigate, well, all of this.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Listeners, this is just the beginning. Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep those deep dives going.